now to be joined by Treaty United defender Marc Ludden. Mark, originally the first question I'd like to ask you, I suppose, is how did the move to Treaty come about at the end of last season, and how quickly did you make the decision to sign for the club?
It came about really quickly, Adrian. Really quickly. I'd kind of spoken with Tommy probably 2 or 3 weeks before Treaty got the licensing, and he was like, to be honest, I'm not too sure if we're going to get it or not, but it looks quite positive. And then the Magic Monday happened where Treaty got their licensing, and we all got the calls to come in on Tuesday, and like no joke, there's probably about 50 or 55 people there at that training session, and then basically signed on that Thursday, and that was it kind of done. So it was a really, really quick turnaround, but delighted that it happened, and delighted that I'm with Treaty.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Mark, I actually remember going out to have a bit of a scout myself at the first trial session to see what type of players would be there. And there was at least 40 there, if I remember rightly, anyway, in the session that Tommy was looking at. Obviously, that night it would have been very hard to predict who would be signing and the likes, Mark. But, you know, were you pleasantly surprised then with the standard that did sign afterwards? I mean, the likes of Ed McCarthy and Matt Keane, who've come up from junior level, have worked extremely hard so far and have bedded in quite well.
Yeah, it was. Tommy rang me after the training Tuesday, and he was like, "No, what were your thoughts?" And I was like, it was so hard to even gauge. You know, I known Jack obviously, and I'd recognized Joel from playing against him. But yeah, like the lads that have come up, you know, the lads you mentioned and many others from junior have done extremely well and have really got up to speed, Adrian, over the last few weeks. Like we had 3 weeks of a preseason, and then straight into games. Like my first 90 minutes, and most of the lads' first 90 minutes was against Bray. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but it's gone well so far, which is great.
Yeah, Tommy brought in Mick Shield as well, who'll be well known in Limerick junior circles from his time with Pike Rovers as the strength and conditioning coach. Probably a hard balancing act, really, Mark, because as you said, a lot of lads didn't get the chance to play 90 minutes in pre-season, and you also had to do a lot of work behind the scenes in training in a very short period of time, which obviously has resulted as well in players maybe breaking down slightly too. You probably went through a grueling few weeks in the lead up to the last couple of games.
Yeah, the first 3 or 4 weeks were tough. You know, it was kind of trying to get in as much running as you possibly could without trying to injure players. And like, you know, no disrespect to junior football, but there's a big difference between junior football and League of Ireland and getting up to that speed, and like people being used to training 3, 4, 5 times a week. Did take its toll in preseason, you know, it definitely did. But I think, you know, Mick and Tommy and the rest of the crew managed it well. And look, we're still not up to speed. We're still not up to 100% match fitness. You know, there's probably still another 2 or 3 weeks before we're kind of hitting the levels that we want to get to. But like that's the kind of cards we were dealt, and you know, we just gotta get on with it.
Yeah, you've played 3 games so far. You've obviously had 2 draws and a win. It's an unbeaten start, Mark. What's been your overall emotion? It's in the start that's been made. It's been very positive around the club in pre-season. Obviously, that positivity has continued into the season, picking up 5 points from 9, which was a good start so far.
Yeah, I think the last game of pre-season against Athlone, and you know, we did very, very well, especially in that first half. I think fitness kind of killed us in the second half. Really gave the lads a bit of confidence into actually you know, we should belong here and we should be playing. And look, the Bray game wasn't one for the spectacle, like the spectators. It was ugly football, but geez, we'll take it every day of the week. We'll take it every day of the week. And then Wexford came about, and we started to get more phase of play and passing movements, and getting to know, you know, what Red wants, what Sticky wants, what Jack wants in terms of where he wants the football. And we're showing signs of that. And I think last week, before Charlie gets sent off, we're playing a better football. we're moving it left and right. We're starting to play more and more football. And I think over the coming weeks, Adrian, we want to be playing football. We don't want to be, kicking the ball along and just defending. We want to try and express ourselves. I think the Three fans, while they're happy with what they've seen so far, I think there's definitely massive room for improvement, and those improvements will come over the next few weeks.
Yeah, you mentioned the sending off with Charlie Fleming, Mark. It might be nearly an unwanted record of 3 sending offs for a new entity in a row at the start of the season. You mentioned as also earlier on that you maybe weren't up to full fitness. You've certainly been tested anyway in the defence in the last few weeks with that. Talking to Jack and Tommy after the game last week, though, you could see that it was kind of becoming tiresome, though, to the fact that you were constantly having to show serious resilience and character just to get a point out of a game that you could have won, particularly. As one of the senior players, I suppose, what can you say in that situation? You just obviously really have to, try and improve that discipline.
Yeah, look, I think 3 red cards in 3 games in a row, I think, is unheard of. I think it's probably some sort of record, definitely in League of Ireland. It's not the image that we want to have for the club. We're definitely not going to be soft anyways, Adrian. I think we're going to be putting in tackles and working hard and pressing. Look, the 3 red cards, they happened. It won't happen on Friday. Trust me. We will finish the game with 11 men. That's definitely going to happen.
Tommy did say that last Friday, so don't be promising too much.
Yeah, it's good on that one. But look, the Charlie's was just kind of rash. Clyde and Sticky, one of their yellow cards each was a bit rash. But look, it's done. There's no point really talking too much about it. We just need to make sure it just doesn't happen, and we finish the game with 11 men. I think, and I think, no disrespect to Cove, but if we keep 11 men on the pitch, I think we win that game. And that's the more disappointing factor, is that we would have had 7 points, and that would have been an unbelievable start. It's a good start. It's a really good start. I think we surprised people, but 3 games in, 7 points would have been really, really nice.
Yeah, obviously it would have been a joint top as far as I'm aware. Obviously Athlone sit top, I think, with 7 points at the moment. That would have been a superb start early on. As you said, you started showing more attack intent as well against Cove. To be fair, even with 10 men, and obviously you had that agonising miss from Ed McCarthy in the second half from a long burst and run by yourself, which we would love to have seen go into the back of the net. There was a tinge of frustration, but obviously happiness that you could show more in attack as well. Yeah,
we want to be playing football. We don't want to be, camped in our own halves, defending, backs to wall type of stuff. We're happy to do it. We've done it. We've done it for 180 minutes now at this stage. But we want to go and play. We want to get our attacking players on the ball and play football. And Limerick is a footballing city. We want to be doing that. We don't want to be just hoofing it long. So that will come with fitness. That will come with keeping obviously 11 men on the pitch, and it will also come with players. We're still getting to know each other in terms of where how you want the ball played and the movements from different players, and that'll take 2 or 3 more weeks. But I think we're doing a lot of work on that, Adrian, at the moment, phases of play and understanding where everyone should be and positionally with the ball and off the ball. So doing a lot of work on that. But yeah, it's all about, can we get a result on Friday now? Galway next, which is a massive game, and can we put in another good performance?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose it is assuring when you go to away grounds. Obviously, we saw it against Bray, that you have a lot of resilience, as we already mentioned, but you're solid. You've only conceded 1 goal in 3 games. That's also brilliant, because that no team, you can't win games really if you're flooding in goals, especially at this level, Mark.
Yeah. I think we've shown in all 3 games we're going to be hard to break down. We have a solid back 5, and then 2 in front of us, but defensively as a whole team and unit, we all understand where we need to be when we don't have the ball. Then it's about, can we get the ball and hurt teams the other way, and doing a lot of work on that. But it's a case of, can we give that platform of clean sheets week in, week out. We're not going to get them week in, week out, but can we aim to have that and give the likes of Red, Sticky, Dino, Joel platform then to go and get a goal or two?
Yeah, before we move on, I suppose, fully to Friday night, do you think that you maybe should have had a penalty against Cove last Friday? Looked a bit dodgy.
No, I know the game is kind of gone. The game is gone a bit soft, but no, I don't think that it should have been a penalty. I think if the ball was kept in play and didn't go out, then maybe I have a bit of a shout for it. But no, the fact that it went out, no, I wouldn't have given a penalty if I was the ref.
You are the most experienced player in the squad, Mark.
Oldest.
Well, yeah. I'm putting a positive spin on it. Other people have mentioned underneath that you're the oldest. And, you might croak if you have to play another game with 10 men. That was mentioned in one of the comments underneath the Facebook pages. But in your experience, Mark, is this one of the more wide open divisions and hardest to call? You've obviously played in a few first division campaigns.
Yeah, this is definitely the most competitive first division that I've ever played in. There's so many, I'm not going to name them, but there's so many really good squads, and anyone can beat anyone, so when you're talking about, the two or three favorites of Galway, Bray and Shells, but then you have Athlone, you have Cork, you have UCD that are all really, really strong. Cove are kind of pipped for playoffs. So it's going to be a really tough 27 games. And we just kind of taking it Friday by Friday and see what we do. But yeah, Adrian, some of the squads that, especially Galway and Shells have are immense.
Yeah, definitely. They wouldn't be out of place in the Premier, you'd imagine, really. No. That we're going on to that game Friday night, Galway, second away game of the season. It's going to be exceptionally tough. It's a strange one, Mark, because obviously Galway have been widely tipped to, be amongst the promotion race and be winners in a lot of cases, especially on our soccer podcast we do weekly. And haven't had a great start to the year. They wouldn't have been happy with the loss at Athlone, obviously. And then as well, had a 0-0 draw against 10-man Shelburne. It's a funny one because you probably would have preferred if Galway had points on the board, because now they're going to be even more motivated coming into this game, and which was already going to be tough as it was against full-time outfit.
Yeah, Friday's going to be very, very tough. Friday's going to be a tough game. Like the Galway squad, that Galway squad is probably the strongest squad that they've had, that Galway have had in a really, really long time. They've also made the really ambitious move, and it's a great move to go full time, Adrian. They have their players in 4 or 5 times a week for 3 or 4 hours, so they get loads of time with them. They get loads of time to work on shape, whatever else they need to work on, and also more importantly, they get they have full recovery. None of them are working, so it gives them that real edge and platform. Will John have been disappointed with the start of the season? Yeah, I worked with John last year. He's hugely ambitious, and he said he's stalled out to win the league. And my money's still on them to win the league, Adrian. I think once they get 1 or 2 wins and the confidence kind of comes back into those players, I think they'll roll on. They'll roll on. I think they'll be very, very hard bet. So yeah, we have a big challenge ahead of us. We know what we have to do. I think the Treaty fans have seen for the last 3 games that we're not going to leave anything on the pitch. We're going to work our socks off and leave it all out there. And if we can leave it all out there and come out with a result, great. If not, at least we can hold our heads high. But we won't lay down. And just because Galway are full time and have a big budget and have all the facilities, not interested in that. It's 11 men versus 11 men, and see what happens on Friday.
Yeah, great to hear. And we'll be talking to one of your ex-teammates and one of our old players, Vinny Farty, tomorrow night, Mark, to preview the game. He'll firmly be in the pro Galway camp, I'd imagine, for that one when he's speaking to us. And there'll be a tiny bit of extra, added spice for both sides as well. Obviously, we've Shane Duggan and Killian Bruder playing in Galway, and obviously yourself and Jack will be returning to Galway as well. So there's a bit extra to it too.
Yeah, as long as Jack stays on the pitch, we'll be happy. I know. All joking aside, yeah. Look, it's an hour down the road. There's Limerick players like Dougie and Bruder are from Limerick, and obviously Jack and myself played with Galway. So yeah, like there's going to be a little bit more of an edge, but yeah, I suppose all I can say is that they have the potential to beat any team 4 or 5-0. That's how good their squad is, and we have to make sure that we have everything right. And if we play the way we can play, then we can hurt them. But it has to be right for 95 minutes, Adrian. It has to be right for 95 minutes or they'll hurt us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we wish you the best luck in that game, Mark. And obviously for the rest of the season. And we hope to be speaking to you throughout the year. And yeah, it's great to have you on with us. And thanks again.
No problem. Chat to you soon.